So the final speaker of this session of the Netnod Tech meeting will be Åsa Schwarz, who is the head of business development at Knowit, Cybersecurity and Law. And she is also a novelist whose books have been translated into 17 languages, with her most recent novel being called Ransom Time. So please join me in welcoming Åsa to the stage.
Whoops. Thank you. Thank you. I think we have a security warning here. Okay, I'm glad to be here. My name is Åsa, as you heard, and I'm going to talk about the top challenges in cybersecurity right now. Or now we have to deal with everything that was invented in the sci-fi movies, because there's a lot of things that's happening right now. And do I have a tracker somewhere here? Thank you. And as you heard, I've been writing a lot of books, and my last third books has been about suspense and IT security. So the one to the, for you is to the left. The 7 keys is actually about DNSSEC and the root zone. And the middle one is about AI and security. And the last one, Ransom Time, it's about secure time and our society's dependency on digital time. So first I will talk a little bit about Sweden. I think many of you here are from Sweden, and otherwise you will learn a little bit more about Sweden. And a little bit about threat actors, but this, I think this audience knows, many of you know more about threat actors than I do, actually. Some of the top challenges right now, and a little bit of about the future and what we can learn about from the sci-fi movies. And many recognize these guys, I think. And is he somewhere here? Where? Ah, here, over there. Okay. I will talk about the level of security in Sweden, because I very often get the question. And before we talk about the level of security, I would like just to say that we are quite often talking about Sweden like some of the, normal country, or as in Swedish, mellanmjölk. But we are not mellanmjölk at all, because we are one of the most innovative countries in the world. We also are one of the most digital countries in the world. And in Stockholm, where we are right now, we have more gazelle companies. It's actually companies that are profit, and make a good profit and are growing in fast speed after Silicon Valley. And finally, we are getting better on cybersecurity, because when I started giving this speech a couple of years ago, I think we were number 46 in the world when we talk about how good we are in cybersecurity in Sweden. And these lists are not really the truth, because what it actually measures is how good our government organize security. But we are getting better even at that level. And what I would like to say also, and that was because I talked about Patrick here, is that we actually also won Lockheed 21 and 23. And so we have some of the best security individuals in the world here in Sweden. And it's you, Patrick. Is there anyone else that was in the team here? Oh, you see. So we have some people that really can help our security. And I think you will talk about this later today also. Good. And first of all, before we talk about cybersecurity, we have to think about what does cybersecurity support. And I think this is a quite interesting picture, because it's not about IT security, it's about a whole country that have to work. And we have 7 police regions, we have 1,750 water plants, and we have 600 telecom operators, and so and so. And everything have to be working. And today, I don't think there is any company that is not dependent on IT. And we also have, as we talked about, we have a huge startup companies, community. Some of these are huge companies today, but 10 years ago they were startups. So it's happened a lot of things here in Sweden. We have, as a cybersecurity community, support all these startups, all these companies, and also all you know, the other things that I talked about before. Do you recognize this one? This is usually a measure of how old the public is. How many have been seeing this? I think we'll have just a quick look. No? How do I start this? Oh, you took it. Oh, okay. Sorry, we had a talk about copyright, and I thought we said we will cut it out when we publish it, but we obviously cut it out immediately. What I would like to share was part of the movie where Kit was speaking to the driver. And we are quite fast approaching where Kit was 1982, and many of companies are looking on sci-fi movies to see what can we invent today. So now we know that we have a country with a lot of things happening, both and in high speed. And if we then look at the prediction for cybersecurity that Gartner gave, I think these are quite good. And the first one, I think, is very interesting. 2027, 50% of CISO will formally adopt human-centric design practices. I think this is a little bit absurd because cybersecurity is supposed to be designed for humans. Otherwise, they will not use the security functions. But, okay, I hope it will be like this in 2027. Another one that I think is quite interesting is that 75% of the employees will acquire, modify, and create technology. And many of you that work with cybersecurity, I think, will get a little bit nervous about this. The shadow IT will be the normal IT. So we have to deal with this and actually educate our co-workers. Because I don't think we could forbid this. People tried to do that 5 years ago, and it doesn't work. And then 50% of the cybersecurity leaders will have tried unsuccessfully to use cyber risk quantification to drive enterprise decision-making. And I think many of us have been in a risk analysis that we have been discussing the possibility of a threat or an event or something, and then you argue for half an hour and you don't get wiser. So I agree a lot with that, and we can also see the next one where you actually use information from threat detection, investigation and response, and actually use information from what's happening in your organization instead of inventing what could be happening. And here, I think this is, for many of you, people are switching jobs quite often because they are tired, they are fed up, and they have too much to do. And also, another one is that board will sooner or later include a member that actually can anything about cybersecurity. And that would be both good, because suddenly it will become requirements from board and from management team about cybersecurity. On the other hand, we have to step up and actually deliver things that they understand. This is another interesting. It's the IBM Cost of Data Breach Report. And you have to read it right because they have analyzed actually breaches and what can increase or decrease the cost of a breach. But what you don't see is all the breaches that hasn't, that has been mitigated. So what you can say, it's very successful to work with DevSecOps for incident. It's both you get less incidents, and if you have an incident, it costs less. Another thing is employee training, and if you saw the last PowerPoint, you saw both that you have to have a human-centric program, but also that all these employees are buying IT. And if you look further down, that actually increased cost is security systems complexity. And that is where many of us are. We have to make systems that not only all employees understand, but also we that work with cybersecurity understand and don't get lost in. And also the security skill shortage. We have a huge security skill shortage, and I will talk about that a little bit later. I think most of you have seen this before. The main motivation for cybersecurity incidents are financial. We have a huge organized crime. We have a lot of organized crime in the whole of the world, and I think I saw some numbers that cybersecurity, or rather the dark side of the cyber costs more than narcotics in the world. And then we also have espionage. Espionage is not as common, but it's very qualified persons that know exactly what they do. And this is also another report of all the nice cybercrime services that are for sale and that you can buy on the internet. So you don't have to be that qualified to actually do cybercrimes. You only have to know where to log in and where to buy stuff. So if you look at top challenges right now, I think this one is a huge one. Not perhaps what you have been, or what we usually talk about. I don't think it's this huge robot that will sort of invade Sweden and create a mess. There are a couple different types of risk with AI. First of all, deliberate development of malicious AI. And I think that is what many people think about. And of course, it is a risk. We have a lot of focus now on develop new ways of making war. But I think the other one, and the deliberate development of malicious AI, are the worst one. Is when you do something, or you give, for example, that robot the goal to clean up this room. It always have to be cleaned, and we as a human, we think that, yeah, you just clean the room and you do what you usually do. But perhaps that robot realized that who are making the mess. And then in the morning, we can't get in here anymore because we have to have a clean room and you are making a mess. Or something worse, if you are as me in the business of suspense and horror novels, you can find out something completely different. There are also manipulated AI, and then that's why when you try to fool AI. This is an example when they have done tests when a car reads that stop sign. You all see that it's a stop sign and you should stop. But the algorithms in this example didn't read it as a stop sign because somehow they read the black and white squares differently and thought it was 45 kilometers an hour. So sometimes with AI, you can fool it, and we as humans can't see it. Another one that is quite worrying is AI in organized crime and propaganda. And the biggest thing right now, if you don't think about all the propaganda that is actually making mess in elections and stuff, is also that you now can't hear the difference between a machine voice and a human being. And it has been starting to be used a lot now in, in fraud. People are calling and they think when they call it's a child or a grandmother or something, and it's not your child or a grandmother or whatever. It's just an AI that sounds like this person. Another one that I also think is quite worrying is number 5. This was an example when I Googled CEO a couple of years ago. Do you see some, is there anything that is common in that picture? Yes, it's male, 45 plus with a shirt, and they look quite common. And perhaps it's not a huge big thing when you Google a CEO, but when you apply to universities or to work or something like that, perhaps it's not that fun that you sort of not get included as a woman. And it actually happened. When for example, I think it was Amazon that have a recruiting service that discovered that if they showed recruitment ads with a high salary for men, they got more clicks. So they stopped showing recruitment ads with high salary for women. They got more clicks and they were happy. But what is that doing to society? And then, of course, when you talk about AI, AI is computers, and you have all the cyber risks that you have before. And this is another example about the BS in AI. I have a daughter that loves to play football, and her biggest goal is to be a professional football player. But if she asks ChatGPT which Swedish football player has been playing most game, they only answer with the male football players and not the female football players. And perhaps you can say, we as grown-ups can understand that this is just a new services and perhaps it's some error right now. But they have published it also on Snapchat. And Snapchat is the only way I can communicate with my children. So I think they have 250 or 300 million subscribers, and most of them are kids. And they are also getting these answers when you ask about football players. And finally, when it's about AI, and this is what is happening right now, and what we are working with a lot when we are working with business development, is that AI, okay, perhaps it's not a huge technology step, but it's actually changing the way people are working. And 44% of employee skills will need to change significantly. And if you change employees, if you change the organization and the technology and the method, you have to make completely new risk analysis because the organization and the risk are completely different. So that is a big or huge risk, or it's not really a risk, but a huge, it's a lot of things we have to do. And we have also a new AI regulation, AI Act, that is regulating if you have a system that is some kind of danger for us as humans, but they're also, if they're not so dangerous, you have to have a transparency and so on, but they also exclude national security and military purpose. So we still don't have any regulation for what the military can do with an AI. okay. So another one is that the legal landscape it changes, and then you can think, what, you know, we are not solicitors. What has that to do with us? But there are 15 new regulation packages from the EU that is about security. And I would recommend you, if you have anything, if you are working with security, to see if there is anything to have to do with your area of work. And this is just some of them. I will not go through all of them because we don't have the time. Another thing is competence. You know, we are quite a lot of people here in the room, but we need to be more. Last year, Europe had, I think it was 58% more job openings within security than last year. And it was vacancies, so we had 58% more vacancies within cybersecurity in Europe. And I don't think it has become better this year. And what we can do is to try to teach our co-workers, try to employ new people in the business, and try to advocate how funny it is to work, or how interesting or how developing it is to work in this business. Because this is one of the biggest problems we have in the business. And I think you have all heard about third-party risk. We have COOP. In Sweden we call it the COOP incident, but it's called another things in different countries depending on which company was most effective. But third-party risk is something that I think all our customers are working with right now. And it's mainly about what happens if your suppliers are having a breach or something. And this one was another example. In Sweden, it's called Vårdguiden. When you call and you have some kind of health problem and would like to have some help. And in this case, the supplier was on Thailand and didn't have any security any security wall. So you actually could sort of just surf in and look at and hear all the calls. And ransomware, it's still increasing, and it's a huge business. So to try to mitigate the ransomware risk, I think most organizations work with, and I think it's very cost effective. So I think that is number 5. Another thing is everything is IT. And it's now we have all employees that are buying, and everything they're buying are IT. So if you make a car, you don't only have to develop a secure car with all the IT in the car, you also have to develop a secure development process with all the things around the car that have to be secure. Last year we had 2 master theses within renewable energy, and unfortunately we found out that within renewable energy they haven't worked that much with cybersecurity. When it was about solar energy, we found out that many of the suppliers haven't thought about cybersecurity at all. And when it was about wind power, we understand that many of it's not me. I'm really sorry about that. It's my son. So sorry. When it was about renewable energy, we discovered that the companies that made the system, they were really good at security, but the companies that operated the system didn't know how to use the system in the right way. And robust time and frequency. I think once third year or something like that, I write a book of a subject that I think is quite interesting within cybersecurity. And the last one, ransom time, is about robust time and frequency, and what's happening with the society when the time is attacked. And I think I've been understanding when I've been talking to people that few people have ever thought about where the time is from and our dependence on the time. But basically, most of our services are dependent on secure time. You know, when you buy stocks, it's quite good if you buy it before you sell it. Or you can make a lot of money. The airplanes, if you don't know where in time the airplanes are, it can collide with another airplane, and so on. So I've been working for a year with this book that is actually about robust time and what can happen with society. And please start to think about it. And I know some of them, we have some experts here that don't have to talk about it, think about it, because they have. But if you haven't thought about it, think about what can happen if time doesn't work in your system. So what does science fiction movies say about the future? We had a copyright discussion here. So before we had some films, but I have instead used DALL-E here to make the picture. But if you think about, can AI have emotion? I thought it was, quite ridiculous when I thought about it in the beginning. But we have had a lot of movies. For example, do you have any example of a movie that have emotion, where AI have emotions?
2001.
Yes. iRobot. Sorry? Wall-E. Yes. We have a lot of cute and less cute robots now. And I thought, that is only sci-fi. But I was listening to this man, Dr. Susumu Tonega, that is Nobel Prize in Medicine. And what he had done research in is in what cell in the brain a memory is in. And he had actually identified which cell a mouse has different memories in. And also, he could also change the memories with the mouse memories. And what he said was that they will soon know different emotions pattern in the brain. And as we never learn as human beings, someone will implement this in AI. So we'll see if he's right or if he's wrong. I hope he is wrong, because if you start implementing love, hate, and revenge in an AI, I prefer to have it in the movies only. And this is another thing. If you think about this kind of thing, you should Google it, because there are lots of reports on how to test an artificial intelligence and Knowit's been testing. I will not talk about it that much, but if you're interested, I will recommend you that. And then the singularity, and that is what many of the sci-fi movies are about. Do you have any? Do you have an example? Terminator, yes. It was a picture of Terminator yesterday. Now it's this picture. So Terminator is one of them. And singularity is actually when when an AI gets so intelligent that it learns how to get more intelligent. And then we are out of the loop. So that is singularity. But I would like to conclude all of this is, there is a lot of fancy new technologies. There are AI, and we can do a lot of stuff. But with basic cybersecurity hygiene, we can protect us against 98% of all attacks. And what I've been seeing in many companies is that we don't have that. So if we start with basic cyber hygiene, then we can do everything else. So that was what I was thinking about talking about. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't see any hands. So please join me in thanking Åsa for a fantastic talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I could also say, if you are interested in my last book, we have it out there, and if you would like to have a signed copy. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Thanks.
Åsa. Thank you.